driving an hour to Geelong to see the gig I wanted to go to was absolutely a no-brainer to me when I was 18 and got my license. So I did often drive down to Geelong, and I saw a lot of bands there, and I just became friends with a lot of people from Geelong.
So Have a Nice Day come on as the opening band, and I'm like, yeah, cool. They're a really good like pop punk kind of band, and then Bored come on and fucking.
So our first gig was with Bored at the Eureka Hotel in Geelong. I think we had maybe 6 songs all up, and I think about 3 of those were covers. So we were so underprepared, and I think Dave Thomas thought it was it's going to be a bit of a joke getting these kids up and kind of in a nice way, just let them go on first, support Bored and the Dirty Lovers, Saturday night, a couple of 100 people, so 13, 14 years old.
As a 14, 15-year-old, I started going to some all-ages gigs and stuff in Geelong, which there were lots of at that time. So I sort of lost count of how many times I saw Magic Dirt, and they were the main one for me. They kicked ass.
The more I heard, the more I gravitated to that scene and those people, and it was just a bustling, exciting town at the time. A lot going on, a lot of creative minds.
I came from this skateboarding kind of scene in Geelong, and you'd always watch skateboarding movies that would have, or videos that would have these soundtracks, and a lot of, and you would see graffiti on the ramps and stuff like that and go, what's that DK, that symbol? And you go sort of check it out through skateboarding magazines and stuff like that.
Skateboarding magazines was how I found out about a lot of punk rock originally.
A lot of us on the dole, so we had heaps of time to kind of practice and work on our craft or whatever.
I think Dave Thomas he was such a major part of the Geelong music scene, and he's one of the people that really stands out for giving young people a go.
He was amazing kind of champion of younger music and younger bands and things, so we're very lucky. All right, so I'm not sure if we would have taken it as seriously if Dave hadn't been sort of on the sidelines, kind of pushing us to keep going.
That was great hanging out as a teenage, as a young shy teenager, and just being accepted by these older people that ran these great stores. And I remember meeting Dean Turner from Magic Dirt in there one day, and he was just so nice. And he invited me and my friends out for a coffee, and we were just going, oh my God, we're going for a coffee with Dean Turner. This is amazing.
Bored, yeah. And we used to actually go and watch them rehearse. Like, we couldn't get enough of them. And they were just, it was like watching your big brothers kind of, they were kind of like a professional touring band, and we were just like, this is amazing. We can go and watch these guys. So that community was very important, I thought. You couldn't do a hell of a lot without the help of a lot of people around you, Yeah,
it was my first experience of being or feeling part of a community.
I suppose that was one thing about seeing Geelong bands. It was they didn't seem rock star-ish as a lot of the other Melbourne bands that were getting popular, so they were a lot of fun to go and see.
To me, the thing about the Geelong band scene back then, all the bands were so diverse. They were all really doing their own thing. They had their we've got a vision and we're gonna fucking do it, and they all supported each other.
There was quite a lot of genres, as we kind of grew and everyone discovered new music and stuff, there was all these little offshoots of, it wasn't just bands aping Bored or, God or whatever like that.
Well, I guess there's the whole, the bit of the underdog mentality.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
We're a small town, So, and you kind of felt like you were getting looked down upon by the Geelong, by the Melbourne people because you just, hicks from Geelong. So that's why everyone banded together. And there was, such high unemployment rates as well. So everyone's on the dole, just scraping by. So I guess that's why everyone's so supportive of each other.
And then, unfortunately, Dave died last year. And then we had to do the tribute show for Dave, which was a really sad day, but also really nice. It was, yeah, that's right. It was a celebration of Dave.
A lot of people from the Geelong scene have also passed away. And Dave Thomas, not just him, but Taz from the Seaweed Gorillas. And there was a list of musicians I was looking at the other day, like lineups of some bands, and I was quite, Tim Hemmensley, who was in the Powder Monkeys, has passed away, and he played in Bored as well, and so yeah, that's one thing. I think the mortality rate of Geelong musicians seems to be higher than the mortality rate of Melbourne musicians. And of course, Dean Turner passed away too. So there's a lot of legends.
The Barwon Club became our second lounge room, and we'd be there multiple times a week. Going to the Barwon Club a few weeks ago, they've still got photos of Bored and Warped and the Powder Monkeys up around the bar. So it's really nice that they've sort of hung on to the history.
It was kind of sad. There was a bit of a decline in the Geelong music scene. Sort of probably started around like more towards the late 90s. A lot of the local bands kind of moved to Melbourne. There were sort of less and less gigs happening. But now there's a whole a new resurgence of bands.
The guys that we used to play with, their kids are now starting bands and are amazing. Like there's a whole label basically of Geelong kind of like punk bands or hard rock bands or whatever.
I also miss the energy. It's not the same these days. You go to a gig, there's no mosh pits, there's no circle pits. I don't see that very often.
It's probably more to do with youth than what I miss. It's a lot of things that when you're young you can play fast and you can play relentlessly. I miss being able to kind of go on tour for weeks. I think just we're all young and dumb enough to not have too many cares. But because we didn't know how to play, we didn't know the ropes how to do this gig thing for a vocation or whatever. So we had lots of help. I'm always grateful to those bands and people that were sort of really helpful and gave us legs up in every little aspect, whether it was live or studio. There was no commercial gain or appeal, and we're almost doing it for each other or to prove something to ourselves, the right reasons. I don't know, we're still flogging that dead horse to this day, so, we're not really giving up anytime soon.